Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a biological marvel that is quite literally the foundation of human survival. But we're taking a slightly different, incredibly unique approach. We're going to explore this whole biological journey right from the first-person perspective of the human breast itself. Human relationships view it through so many different lenses, but biology? Biology tells us this deeply complex, absolutely mind-blowing story.
Just listen to this powerful statement from our source text. I am a mother's chest, a dizzying miracle that steps forward to provide food, medicine, and protection. Wow, that really sets the perfect tone for our journey today, doesn't it? We're talking about a living, breathing life support system that kicks into high gear the exact moment a new human steps into this world.
Here's how we'll break this down. First, we'll look at nature's unique miracle. Then, the journey of change and development. After that, we'll take a tour of the internal milk-producing factory, see how it acts as a life-saving natural medicine, and finally, we'll look at the staggering preparations for motherhood.
Let's jump right into part 1, nature's unique miracle.
Imagine this for a second. When a newborn baby enters the world, it's basically like landing on an alien planet. They're instantly surrounded by trillions of germs. Trillions. Without a primary defense system, surviving would be practically impossible. And this is exactly where this organ acts as a literal miracle. It takes the body's blood and resources and completely transforms them into life-giving, pure milk. It's the absolute first and strongest shield a baby gets.
Now, the evolution of this organ is just as wild as what it actually does. Believe it or not, it's actually a highly complex, evolved version of a basic sweat gland. Biologically speaking, the left side is usually a bit larger and represents the pair. But here's the most mind-blowing fact, its historical adaptability. Before modern medicine, if a mother tragically passed away, a grandmother could hold that orphan baby to her chest, and her body could physically adapt and start lactating just to save the infant's life. I mean, it is truly an organ designed purely for human survival.
Moving on to section 2, let's track this journey of change and development. You might think this organ just suddenly appears in adulthood, but it's actually active from day one. Right after birth, maternal hormones transferred to a newborn girl can actually cause her tiny glands to produce milk-like fluids. It's a tiny kickstart, but then they go completely dormant. They sleep until about age 9 to 12. Then, much like a larva transforming into a butterfly, the ovaries wake up and send a chemical signal, basically telling the chest to start preparing for a future guest.
So what does this preparation actually look like? Well, the ovaries release command hormones, and the body follows this predetermined biological blueprint to the letter. First, fat starts accumulating, building the structural base. Then the volume gradually increases with this very specific natural symmetry. Finally, the nipple and the surrounding areola expand and darken in color. The body is proactively building a life support system years, sometimes decades, before it's ever used.
All right, let's step inside for section 3, the internal milk-producing factory.
Number 17. This is a hugely crucial number. Inside this internal factory, there are an average of 17 main duct units. Think of them as 17 dedicated supply canals or pipelines. Their one and only job is to transport the final product from millions of tiny manufacturing centers straight to the surface. To really visualize this, our source gives us a brilliant analogy. Picture peeling a tangerine. Inside every slice, you have hundreds of those tiny, juice-filled sacs, right? Well, the internal factory looks a lot like that. It's packed with millions of tiny sacs called alveoli. But unlike a piece of fruit where the juice just sits there, these alveoli are plugged directly into those 17 massive supply pipelines. It's a highly dynamic, totally interconnected manufacturing and storage network. And this massive, complex factory isn't just floating around randomly in the body. Nature designs specific tissues and ligaments that act as a natural bra. They anchor this entire system perfectly to the chest wall at a very specific angle. And the craziest part? This whole arrangement is orchestrated by hormones from the brain working entirely in the background. We never even have to think about it.
That brings us to section 4, life-saving natural medicine.
Here's the most important takeaway. What this factory produces isn't just a basic drink or food. It is packed with unbeatable natural antibodies that literally no modern antibiotic or artificial formula can match. When a baby drinks this, they are instantly shielded from severe, life-threatening illnesses like whooping cough and measles. And check out this design feature. Thanks to the layers of fat surrounding the factory, this natural medicine is kept at the exact perfect temperature. Whether it's freezing cold or blistering hot outside, the temperature of this water of life doesn't change one bit.
Finally, Section 5, the staggering preparations for motherhood.
The moment a pregnancy begins, everything shifts into overdrive, and it all starts with a placenta. This is a miraculous tissue that connects the mother and child in the womb, but it also acts as a central communications hub. Once pregnancy is confirmed, the placenta immediately starts firing chemical commands directly to the breast to kick off the final preparations.
The very first major command arrives in the form of estrogen. You can think of estrogen as the master power switch. It floods the system and flips the switch to turn on all those millions of tiny alveoli, those tangerine-like sacs we talked about earlier. At this point, the factory machinery is officially powered up.
Working right alongside that is progesterone. If estrogen turns the factory on, progesterone expands it. This hormone rapidly multiplies the number of those tiny milk storage sacs. The body isn't just preparing to make milk now, it's aggressively multiplying its storage capacity to meet future ongoing demands.
All of this leads to some massive physical changes right at the end. The blood vessel network expands so much that you can clearly see blue veins on the surface of the skin. The overall weight of the organ can actually double. And right before birth, there's this critical factory cleaning process. The tiny sacs are flushed with a hard, special cleaning fluid. Just before the baby arrives, the body clears this fluid out, making sure everything is completely sterile and perfectly primed for pure milk.
All of this really leaves us with a thought-provoking question. Knowing that this intricate, highly responsive, completely autonomous factory operates right inside the human body, anticipating needs, changing its own structure, manufacturing medicine on demand, how can we not absolutely marvel at nature's flawless life support system? It's a biological wonder that connects all of us. Thank you for joining us on this explainer today, and keep exploring the incredible science of the human body.